considering being in a relationship with her co-defendant, she refers to her co-defendant as her fiance. As a matter of fact, she is 8 months pregnant with her fiance's baby. The same fiance that is now serving a 15-year sentence to what they both did to their 1-month-old child. She was only sentenced 8 months ago. She was out on bond long enough to have another baby with her co-defendant. And now she is applying to have an ICOTS to leave Iowa so she can raise the baby with the co-defendant's family. You can't make it up.
2 Des Moines residents are going to prison for causing a 4-week-old baby to suffer from multiple broken bones last year. 26-year-old Frankie Honeyman was sentenced to 15 years in prison this morning. The other suspect, 32-year-old Cheyenne Swink, was sentenced to 2 years. Honeyman pleaded guilty to child endangerment causing injury and dependent neglect, both felonies. Swink pleaded guilty to an aggravated misdemeanor of child endangerment. The court documents show the newborn had a broken clavicle, broken rib, and multiple leg fractures.
Prior to running her for parole to get an idea of whether to do an interstate compact or to do an early kick immediate discharge. And due to the fact that she's pregnant and that she her charges, it was, she advised me that it would probably be more better to do a parole, an interstate compact. So she is still on parole. For
okay.
Time after having the baby.
Have you confirmed that they will actually fulfill the interstate compact?
What?
Do you know that they will actually take her in an interstate compact?
No. We would not know that prior to running her because the prison doesn't proceed with that until after it's been granted by the parole board.
Okay, so if that doesn't happen, then what's the next plan? So let's say we move forward to that plan today, and it doesn't go through, then what happens next?
She'll just discharge and go to Nevada when she's done.
Okay.
Congratulations, you found Perscolas. We train people for careers in IT, careers that allow people to build.
And there's no concerns for the life of this newborn baby moving to this family? Given the charges that we're talking about here, we don't have concerns about a newborn baby going to the same family?
I think there's always a concern. That's why I chose to do the parole. So there's still the accountability piece.
Okay. All right. Or did either of you have any questions?
I did not.
Okay, you can go ahead and bring her in. Thank you. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll just go down and I'll turn the computer around if they're here. Shut the door there. Okay, here's Miss Swink. You see him okay?
Hi, Ms. Swink. Can you give us your full name and your number today, please?
Cheyenne Lee Swink, 668-6316.
Yeah,
thank you. Have you been in front of the board before?
No, I have
The
not.
answer is no. Okay. So let me explain how it's going to work, and then I'll tell you what you're going to do today, okay? So how it's going to work is the three of us will ask you some questions. We're going to just be yourself. Just tell us the answers the best you can. After that, we turn it over to you so that you can tell us anything you want to tell us, anything that you want us to know, anything that maybe we forgot to ask you that you want us to consider before we make a decision. Then we're going to go into what we call deliberations, which is decision making. We're going to sit here and talk about you and all the things we heard today and everything we've learned and read and make the best plan we can for you. And at the end, I come back and tell you what we're going to do for the day. Does that sound okay?
Yes.
All right. So to get us started, can you tell us what happened that brought you to prison today? Why are you here?
My son was seriously injured when I left him in the care of my partner one morning. I think it was back in October of 2022. I'm still not 100% sure on exactly what happened. As soon as I saw that his leg was injured or looked odd, called 911 immediately, took him to the hospital, and everything went from there.
Okay. And so you were with the partner at the time when the injuries occurred. Is that correct?
I was in the same house, but I was not in the same room. We were getting ready to sell our house, and I was cleaning and staging the house in another room at the time.
Okay. And your partner, though, is also in prison for this crime, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is he what relationship do you have with that person?
He's my fiance. Yeah.
Okay.
What?
So even though you're pretty sure he hurt your firstborn child, you're going to still stay in a relationship with him. That's my understanding.
I'm honestly not sure how to answer that right now. I don't know that he intentionally hurt my son. That's still not been clarified.
Okay. So through his trial, that wasn't clarified that he was the one that hurt your child?
To my knowledge, in his trial, it was, he took full responsibility for the fact that our son was hurt while in his care, but not that he was the one to hurt him.
Okay. I'd highly recommend you read the minutes of testimony on this case, because that is not what those trial charges say, which is why he's in prison a lot longer than you for these crimes. All right. So what are your plans then? If you were to be let out today, what are your plans moving forward?
My plans moving forward are to move to Nevada, where I have a very stable, healthy environment, very good, big support system, a lot of family. There I will continue college. I'm 2 terms away from graduating college with my degree. Obviously putting my children first.
Right.
I'm pregnant right now, due to give birth in, I think, a couple weeks. My son's going to be my first priority. Taking care of him and making sure he has everything he needs. And then obviously taking care of myself as well by finishing school. That was like a really big thing for me to accomplish. So those would be my plans.
Okay. And so what has happened to the child that was injured that from the first child that we're talking about today, the victim? Where is he? What's your relationship with him?
I do not have a relationship with him right now. There was unfortunately a no contact order put in. So I'm not sure, and I haven't been updated or told anything as far as where he is. I think that he is with my mother, but I haven't been notified of that. I plan to obviously respect that no contact order. It's unfortunate, but I still plan to do everything I can to hopefully have a relationship with him someday when I'm legally able to. Part of my plan going back to college and school was so that I could make a better life for my kids and myself, and I fully intend on doing that.
Okay, so who's the caretaker then of your first child?
I believe it's my mother, but like I said, I have not been notified of who got custody or where they're at in the court process for that, so I'm not sure.
Okay, so it's not your intent. As far as you know, have your rights been terminated?
Yes, they were.
Okay, so then this conversation about being a parent to that child's not going to happen, right? If you have no parental rights.
I would not be a parent physically to him at this time, no.
Okay, but you're expecting a second child, and that's the one you're talking about being a parent for and going to school for, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what do you want to do? What was your degree going to be in? What did you want to do with that schooling?
I'm due to get my degree in programming and coding. I wanted to do something that I could enjoy, that I knew I would be good at, but also that I could find a career afterwards working from home so that I could be present and provide more of like a stable living situation for any future children I had.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering my questions today. I'm going to see if my colleagues have some additional ones. James?
Yes, at this time, no, I don't.
Okay. Justin?
I do. Hello, I'm Jesse. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
The reason for these questions are to assess your readiness for reintegration and your likelihood to reoffend. How have you prepared yourself if you're released today?
I've had a lot of time to work on myself and, basically go over everything that I've been through and the things that I've done and try to ready myself better as a parent. I've looked up different programs and classes that I can take even while in Nevada. I also took active class while I was at the prison. I think that helped me in a sense. It kind of gave me a better idea on how other people work and how other people view things and go through things differently, and kind of helped me process a lot of the things that I had gone through and that I could potentially go through in the future. So yeah, I think I did my best at using the tools and everything that I was given while in there, and the tools that I can still find on when I leave to continue to better myself.
Okay. What do you feel will be different with this child than with the other child that's the victim?
I'm hoping, like I said, I can be as good as I can. Obviously, using the tools that I learned and the tools that I will continue to learn. I took several different parenting classes. I took therapy, different kinds of therapy, family therapy in that time as well. I know all of those things helped me. Being more present, being very cautious and aware of whose care I leave my child in. Their well-being is most important, and I feel like I failed in that regard before, and I am holding myself to the full accountability to do better in the future.
So with that being said, you want to hold yourself to full accountability, take care of your child. Why would you go back with the same guy that's been convicted of hurting your child?
When you hear music like this,
like I said, it's hard for me to answer that right now. I haven't spoken to him in 8 months. I don't know if my plans will remain the same.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Obviously my intentions would never to be to put my children in any harm's way. And I would not stay with someone that I felt like would do that. And I obviously have a lot to think about moving forward. He's in prison right now. I can't, and like I said, I haven't spoken to him in 8 months.
What's your relationship like with your mom, your biological mom?
We haven't spoken either.
Okay. And what do you think the reason for that is?
Going through this whole process, it put a lot of pressure on our relationship. Unfortunately, it's something that I would like to hopefully remedy in the future or work on. Like I said, I've gone to a lot of therapy. I've done a lot of healing and worked through things while here before I was here, and I continue to do so after here. And it's something that I would like to work on in the future.
So my last question for you is, do you think that your relationship would be better with your mother if you were not to pursue this relationship with the co-defendant?
I don't believe that has anything to do with my relationship with her. No.
That's a lie.
What do you think is the cause of your bad relationship currently?
She was not very supportive, and
Of your relationship.
she had made some statements that were false throughout this whole process. That really surprised me and hurt me. I kind of felt like she had abandoned me through everything, and that was
on your ass
very
and you're
difficult
mad.
for me. So it was very easy for me to kind of push that relationship to the side at the time because my main focus was my son and going through the process and dealing with everything and trying to, get some resolution.
Would you be willing to tell me what one of those statements were?
The false statements.
Yes.
I do apologize because it was a while back, but I know one of the statements, she lied about how my sister felt about me and saw me. She made a comment about how my sister didn't want to come back to Iowa because she didn't want to be around me, or it was something to that extent. And I have a good relationship with my sister, and I messaged her about it and she corrected it. She had messaged her and corrected her. So I found out that was false. That was one of the false statements.
I have no other questions for you. Thank you for answering the ones I did ask.
I think you just made that big fat lie.
Jesse, do you have another question now? Okay.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Renee. How you doing this morning, Ms. Swing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. One of the things I heard you mention was your completion of active.
Yes, sir.
If there was something that you could point out, and you can give me a couple of things from active, can you share with me what are some of the things that you learned there that you didn't have prior to taking the course?
Sure. A couple different things. A lot of it was drug related, which I don't have drug problems, so it was hard for me to relate to things like that. But there was a point, there was a video that we had watched. It was like a video clip, and it was during the child or parenting kind of section of active. I guess I'm not entirely sure on the exact title of what that section of active is called, but there was a video clip showing something I'd gone through with my son in therapy when we were doing the parenting or family therapy section. And that clip happened, and it did bring up a lot of emotions for things that I had gone through. And throughout that section, just learning the things that you do, whether subtle or not whether you think about it or not, can have an impact on your children. Kids are like sponges. They take in everything that they see and they can duplicate it. So the things that you do and the things that you set them up for have such a big impact on their reactions and how they develop and grow. And that was obviously something that I knew a little bit about before, but I feel like going into that and seeing that again and everything really changed my perspective on all the things.
Okay. So in hearing you speak, you mentioned something about emotions and pretty much how your emotions in check, correct?
Right.
Okay. And listening to you speak to my colleague just earlier, talking about your emotions towards your mother and towards your sister that surrounded, would you say the emotions were kind of high from your mother when this incident took place, or from what her personal feelings were?
Yes, possibly. We didn't really get to communicate at all, so I didn't really know how she felt, and I don't think she really knew how I felt. At the time, it was easier for me to just kind of cut off contact at the time, because my son was my first priority, and I really wanted to focus on that and going through everything. But yes, there was definitely emotions involved on both sides, and to what extent, I'm not sure.
So emotions were high, though.
Hot? Are you saying hot or high?
High or hot combination.
I was upset. Sure, I was. And like I said, I'm not entirely sure on how she felt or what her emotions were, but I was very upset. Felt hurt and betrayed.
Do you feel that when emotions are high, people make the best decisions?
No, sir. Not always.
So with that being said, what is it that you value today that you didn't value prior to being incarcerated?
Knowledge The ability to work on my emotions, my family, my life. My family is definitely my first and top priority always.
No, it's not.
Like I said, I feel like I failed at some of those things before. And sorry.
It's got to put on the waterworks.
And I understand that, and I do want to do so much better in the future with everything that I know now.
So I'm noticing some emotions is coming out. Can you give me a brief understanding of where those emotions are coming from?
Just everything that I've gone through and everything that I've put my son through. It's been a really hard experience, and I know that even though he's so young, the choices and the things that I've done are going to affect him in the future. And those are things that I won't ever be able to change or take back. But I can try to do my best with what I can moving forward.
I appreciate you sharing that. And in sharing that, I'm hoping that you can see from our perspective how concerned we are as a board for you to even be considering the relationship with the co-defendant in this case. Is that fair to say?
It's fair.
Okay. And not that you may be in agreement with it, but there are those concerns because of basically the disconnect in terms of what your interpretation or understanding is from what evolved as opposed to
Wait till you hear.
We were able to gather, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I'm going to eat only steak for the next 365 days to lose weight.
This was a
Okay. So
It's a 1-month-old baby, and it had all kinds of injuries, broken this, broken that.
in hearing my colleague's question, how concerning are those things for not knowing to transition into potentially moving to Nevada, potentially resolving the relationship, potentially raising red flags or raising emotions that, as you characterize in your emotional state, how would that decision be in your best interest for you and your newborn?
I don't
she's
think it
pregnant
would be
again
in the
right
best
now.
interest. Like I said, I haven't had a lot of, time to really think about it, and I wasn't able to read or anything, the statements or anything from before to know that. But if it's something that is that bad or concerning, I don't want to put my, any future children, including this one, in a position to be hurt or anything like that. So it's definitely going to be something that I'm going to have to reevaluate and think about. At the same time, I think for me, it's too that he's the father. And even if I don't have a relationship with him, I feel, taking the relationship from the child away 100% isn't. It's something that I feel in my head. I don't know how to really articulate that. So even if I don't continue a relationship with him,
You still want the kids around
as a
him.
father, like, what does that look like? It's something I'm going to have to think about. What does that look like for him having a relationship with his child?
You mentioned working with a therapist?
Yes, sir.
With professionals?
Yes, sir. I continue to do so in Nevada. I've already looked at places
real.
that will take the insurance that I'll be on. And
Can those professionals be a resource and a help towards your decision-making process? So
Yes,
that
sir.
you're not carrying on all those thoughts that you are challenged or feeling challenged with making decisions?
Yes, sir. And I fully intend to do that when I get there.
Thank you, Ms. Swink. That concludes my question.
So full of
Thank
shit.
you. I have just a couple more. Ms. Swink, can you tell me about drugs and alcohol? Is there any use of that in your life prior to this situation?
No drugs, alcohol, just, I would say socially. I was not really a drinker. No.
That's what I saw, but I just wanted to confirm. And then the support in Nevada, is that all related to your fiance's family, or do you have additional supports out there? I just wasn't clear on who's there.
Both. I have additional supports there and family as well. Yes.
So your own personal family in addition to his family.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now's the time. Jesse, did you have any
I
follow-ups?
do not.
Okay. Now's the time, Cheyenne. If there's anything you want us to know and anything you prepared for us before we go into our decision making, the floor is yours, and you can tell us anything you want us to know.
I don't really have anything prepared. I was switched over to a different location a couple weeks ago to be closer to a hospital for the pregnancy. I do want to reiterate and go back and say kind of what I had said before, just that I know that I failed my son, and he should have been, the number one priority. And those are things that I'll never get back. And I know that, I still got to see him throughout the rest of the process through visits and therapy and everything. And he was growing up into be, a beautiful boy, had no developmental issues. I was really grateful and thankful for that. And I'm hoping that I can have a relationship with him at some point in the future. But everything that I do in life, I've planned with him in mind, and this boy now that I'm having in mind as well. And I know that I can't change the past, but I will do everything that I make better decisions in the future, not just for myself, but for him in mind as well.
All right. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And just sit back, take a deep breath. We're going to talk a minute, and I'll be back with what we're going to do in just a second, okay?
Oh, gosh.
Okay, thank you.
All right, colleagues.
I'll go first. I listened intently to this interview, and I believe that Ms. Swink does have the remorse, but my question is, she says she doesn't want to have to reevaluate or have to make a better decision for the future of her child, but I think this decision to go to this parole site is a bad decision, so I'm going to be a no on that. And I'm going to say
He's
sit
a
down
no.
until
We're about to
time of
miss 2
discharge.
minutes and 28
No
seconds.
till time of discharge. James.
Yeah. Like my colleague, I do basically, as a form of expression, ditto to everything that he said. In terms of where my concerns are at, I do note remorse or sense remorse, and
I didn't say remorse.
Did you know Colonial Penn offers guaranteed life insurance for those aged 50 to 85 in most states? So if you're
Plan forward. We're not good with this relationship with this co-defendant. I know and I understand that you care about him deeply and that you're concerned for him and for your child. But there's a lot more information here you need to be looking into and getting a clear understanding of how grave this situation is. And so we're going to be recommending an RDF 8, which is going to be a 4-month sit down, which will just get you through your discharge date, and then you can discharge straight from there and make the decision that you choose to use, that you choose to do. And so that's going to be our decision today. Thank you, and that concludes our interview.
Well, what we just watched is clearly insane. I think everybody watching this realizes, holy cow,
Listen
we
to this
just,
shit, you guys.
we just saw a monster have a parole hearing. I think it would be classified as a sociopath. I'm only speculating on a situation like this. I'm not a PhD. I don't work at the DOC. I'm not a judge. What do we know? How is it possible? She couldn't have spoken out of more different sides of her mouth in one short period of time. I don't even know that it was him that did it. Oh, I left my child in the care of someone else, and my child got hurt. Oh, he's my fiance. Oh, I actually don't know if I'm going to have him involved in my life. I haven't had much time to think about it. You're not married. He's a fiance. There's not even a legal binding to that. What are you saying, you cockroach? A lizard human. You know what? Fine. I'm not a PhD. You're a lizard humanoid. This is insane. What's insane, though, of course, okay, so we know that lizard humanoids exist. We know that sociopaths exist. We know that monsters exist. But how is it possible that the system cannot identify what is so clear to anybody who would have a 30-second conversation with her, that this is a dangerous woman? How is it possible that she's allowed on probation, that there are not orders in place that said you can't have contact with your co-defendant? How is it possible that she can have a baby 8 months ago, that she's getting released after 1 year in prison? October is her full term date. This is insane. This is what happened.
Listen, y'all. He rants, and I got
to think that this was written just December 8th, 2023. She has her parole hearing on August 6th, 2024. 2 people have been sentenced on Friday after a 4-week-old child, their child, who, by the way, she never mentioned anything about it, his name, it never slipped up because, no, it's child. In October of 2022, Frankie Honeyman and Cheyenne Swing, 32, took their 4 week. She had just given birth to a hospital where it was discovered that the infant was suffering from multiple broken bones in his legs. He had broken ribs, and he had a broken collarbone. They don't even list that in here. According to a criminal complaint, the infant had visible bruising on his face before he was taken to the hospital, and she was aware the bruising had occurred while the child was alone. And she says that in the hearing. I left my child with someone, and he got hurt. And then you find out because you were in the house when it happened. Oh, I was in a different room preparing because we were moving. Every instant that she thought she could manipulate the board, she was trying. You saw the way she turned on those waterworks. I mean, it's Amber Heard would pay to have that type of skill. She got into the wrong field programming. She needs to be in acting, but it's something that it's a tool that they have. It's all about manipulation. You know that she has no empathy for anyone but herself, and I don't even believe that she was crying for herself. I believe that was pure manipulation.
And listen how many times these people get up there and it's I, me, I, me.
Speculating on a situation like this. What do I know? I'm a man, dude. That's it. I know. As a result of the investigation of the infant's injuries, Honeyman was arrested and originally charged with child endangerment, serious injury, class B felony. Okay, on October 2023, now we fast forward. So the judge lets them out on bond after these charges, right? Because the judge doesn't think, what if they have another baby together? You think the judge would have put a no contact order between them immediately. That would have been part of the requirements, because who would have thought that maybe they'll have another baby together. But no, that doesn't seem to happen. And if it did happen, there's no follow-up repercussions for it, clearly. In October of 2023, a year after the infant was seriously injured, Swink and Honeyman pled guilty to lesser charges. Why not? Why not make it lesser charges? The DAs are busy prosecuting people with tax fraud. Honeyman pled guilty to child endangerment, bodily injury, and neglect of a dependent person. At a hearing on Friday, Honeyman was sentenced to 15 years, which is great. At least he got 15 years, although we know that in Iowa, we'll see him up for parole probably after just 2. Let's be real. That's the way it works here. And no contact orders have been filed, blah, 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 from their son. There's so much to talk about in this hearing. I have a sensory overload when you have so much to talk about that is a bit of a problem because it's like, where do you start? But let me bring up her crying real quick. When she turned on the crying, and it was good. It was a good performance. She had real tears. I mean, it's something. Amber Heard should hire her. She put on a performance worth an Oscar, and I don't believe it was actually self-pity cry. I out to me, made me my logo for free. I don't even know how he got.
Okay, that case is over. He's kind of going on. Do we want to see a Utah parole hearing? Let's see Utah.
3 reasons why Freebird is better than Remington. Today, I tested the Remington Boulder Pro to see how.
And I don't know, I'm a kind person now. I'm respectful. I'm honest. I don't know.
She just told a lie there.
Just an opportunity to sell yourself. Okay. What is your relationship with your 2 other children?
We are about to watch a Utah parole hearing of a mother, some might call a monster, who took her baby infant 15 years ago. Now she has a chance for parole. We'll unpack it with all the details at the end because sadly in this parole hearing, they don't get into that. So with that, let's jump in.
She did what to her infant? Like stole it? Took it?
Okay, this is a hearing for Ariel Hampton. Today's date is 6/25/2024, 0900, actually 0859. My name is Scott Stevenson. I'm the chair of Board of Pardons and Parole. I'll be conducting this hearing. This is an original hearing for Ms. Hampton, offender number 194107. For the commitment conviction of child abuse, homicide, and obstruction of justice. I'll be accepting your testimony during this hearing, so if you raise your right arm up, you promise that...
Stand up.
No, you're fine. Do you promise the testimony you will provide during this hearing will be true and accurate?
Sure.
Thank you. Did you receive 7 days notice of this hearing?
Yes.
Okay. Did you receive your disclosure packet?
Yesterday, yes.
Yesterday? Did you get a chance to review it in its entirety? Okay. Did you see any discrepancies or things that need to be fixed? Is there anything you wanted to add to the packet? Are you ready to proceed with this hearing? We have in the audience Gabe Hampton, which is brother of Miss Hampton, and Marissa Vincent, sister. Welcome. Ms. Hampton, I'm going to be asking you questions not to embarrass you, not to make you emotional, just to get information out on the record. You may wonder why I'm asking that question if I have the information in front of me. Again, it's just to make sure that we get it on the record. This is your original hearing. I want to remind you that this is your hearing. I'll be asking you questions and guiding the hearing process, but if you have anything to add or say, please don't hesitate to do so, okay? And there's tissues right there if you need them. We'll get through this.
Damn, why didn't he kiss her butt enough?
Do we have anybody attending online? Okay. I don't want to go into every detail of your committed crime, but I do want to get an idea of your thoughts about it today, looking back on it, what you have learned, what could you have done differently, and we'll just go from there.
Okay.
And you probably need to speak up or pull that closer to you so we can catch you. Okay?
Okay.
Time is yours.
So can you rephrase that again?
Yes.
Answer correct.
So looking back on the crime.
There's something about the guy that makes me uneasy.
What are your thoughts about what happened? The circumstances surrounding that crime, meaning your life, what was going on in your life at the time, and just your thoughts about it right now.
Well, I isolated myself from my family during that time. I should have sought help during my frustrations and my anger, and I was, I don't know, young and naive also, and I thought I knew it all. So when really I didn't. I wish that I could take back my actions. I wish I would have sought help and asked for help for my family. They would have helped me, because I had a lot of help. I just chose not to. During my incarceration, I have taken the life skills classes and I have utilized them and applied them to my life. Sometimes it's been hard, because I have reverted back to old behaviors. But
while in prison?
Yeah. I've struggled my 15 years of trying to cope with everything. However, I feel like the classes have helped me with my coping skills on how to manage them better and be healthier and ask for help when I need it.
Okay. Describe how you digressed or went back to your old ways while you're in prison. What happened? What did you do?
Instead of problem solving, I would get angry and frustrated.
Okay. And then what would be your behavior as a result of that?
Just defiancy.
Did that happen at what period of time in your stay in prison did that happen? I mean, was it just kind of throughout your stay or?
Throughout my stay. So the last 3 years have been really good. I've been at Wasatch, and the officers are kind and they actually help you. So if you have a problem or something, you can go and talk to them. I also have family support, so I talk to them about things. And I recently got married last year. So
congratulations.
And my husband is a really big support system for me too. So
when did you get married? When did you get married?
March 15th of last year.
So while being at Wasatch, your behavior and attitude has changed considerably.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Mm-hmm.
So what is the biggest difference between
I
where
want to hear
you've
about
been
the
before?
crimes.
I guess it was here at prison versus at a county jail.
I had time to actually think about my actions and my behavior, my thinking errors, and process things. And I utilize the classes there as well to help me. And I actually, pertain the information. And with myself also, I work out. So I've been working out the last 2 years. I had a really big health scare. And so they told me that I need to start exercising and watching my diet and stuff. So I've been doing that, and that has helped me dramatically with my state of mind and my spiritual and my thought process, I'm calmer and more rational.
So a lot of things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And your health scare, it's all gone and
Yes.
you're better?
Yeah, I'm managing it better.
Is it all gone? Yes, I'm managing it. Well,
And you didn't have those opportunities here in prison?
I did. I didn't utilize them.
what?
Please explain to me why you are now utilizing them versus while you were here.
I realized that I was unhappy with myself and I needed to change, and nobody else is gonna, make me happy or choose how I live my life. Only I can.
So it says here in the report that you were drinking heavily around this period of time. Walk me through your drug use history. When did you first start? How did it escalate? Why did it escalate?
Oh, Lord.
Just all the circumstances surrounding your drug use.
I started, I used meth the first time and marijuana at 18. I tried it out. Peers.
Friends?
Yes. I really didn't start drinking until I turned the age of 21 when I could legally go to bars and stuff. So then I thought that was fun. It wasn't fun. So.
And how much would you use meth, marijuana, alcohol on a weekly basis?
I only use meth and marijuana like a couple times when I was 18. And then after that, I started having my children, and then I didn't start drinking until I was 21.
And drinking just escalated from there?
Yeah, for that year.
And I could do the math, but how old were you when this crime occurred?
22.
And your daughter was 29 months old?
Yes.
Just over 2? You said you have another child?
Yeah, I have 2 other children.
Let's hear what she did.
How old are they?
19 and 16.
How old were they when this crime occurred?
My oldest was 4 and my youngest was 10 months.
It says here you had 2 counts of assault. Do you remember those? I assume prior to it was in 2004.
When I was in state's custody, yes.
What happened with those incidents?
I fought a couple girls in the group home that I was at.
What were the circumstances surrounding that?
I don't really remember.
How convenient.
Maybe your temper got in the way?
Well, yeah. Yes, sir.
So looking back on some of the decisions and choices you've made, how would the new Miss Hampton handle those situations?
I would.
Damn, why don't you just tell her what to say?
Actually allow other people to express their feelings and be receptive to their thoughts and feelings and talk to them rationally. And sometimes I think even if we both don't agree, we can agree to disagree.
Okay.
You know, and come to a common understanding.
Is there a particular class that helped you realize that that's a healthy way to interact with others?
What I just said.
Yeah, what you just said.
Oh, yes, I'm taking MRT.
MRT.
Mm-hmm. I took it once before in 2021 or 2020, and so I'm taking it again because I think it's a good class.
Are you learning more the second time?
Yes.
We have a tendency not to retain as much the first time. What else do you like about MRT?
It's goal oriented. So.
She's been coached. She's a
If you would share
boring.
with me some short-term goals and then some long-term goals. And the way you handled conflict as a
Indescribable shades of blue. The kind of beauty that moves you.
With them right now. I have a rocky relationship with my daughter, but she doesn't know who I am, so she's scared. You know?
we call a vote. And then I put my recommendation as to what should happen, whether it's parole or rehearing, whatever the case may be. And then they will make their decision, independent decision, based on the information they provide.
Okay.
I promise I'll capture everything
She
that
did
you
something
have
really bad
said
to
me.
children. I'm waiting for this guy to
That's
tell
why I
us.
asked for clarifying state.
She's been
Okay.
drinking a lot for like a year, and that.
Let's hear.
We like to try to get them done within 2 to 3 weeks, but it might be a little delayed.
Okay.
Hold on, we're getting ready
think
to
that's
see
it.
Adrian.
Okay.
Do you have anything else?
Oh, I'm good.
You're good. All right. That concludes our hearing.
So let's unpack this. You know what's strange about this hearing? And Utah has so many different interviewers, parole officers, what have you, what they call them, that it's I'm seeing many of them for the first time. And I don't know if he's normally like this or if it was something going on, but it was kind of, for me, just kind of weird.
It was.
I mean, I could have fallen to sleep to both of their voices. I could put that on replay and go to sleep to it. It was so calming and so like zen that you wouldn't know that you were having a parole hearing for a mother that was sentenced to 2 terms of 15 years. He's 30 years. She got let out 15 years early for the brutal killing of her little daughter that she tried to get away with. She told the paramedics that her baby drowned. They found the little girl face down in a baby pool. And it wasn't until they ran tests that they realized this girl wasn't drowned. This girl was brutally beaten. But you would have no idea. As a matter of fact, both of them used the verbiage, "What happened to your daughter?" She said, "What happened to my daughter?" You happened to your daughter. It didn't just happen. It's these things that these parole hearings, I don't understand it. And they don't also, in Utah, they don't go through like her. It sounds like she had a ton of write-ups or fighting, and they don't like, I mean, they went through an incident that happened like a decade ago, but what about the past 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 2 years? To me, it's a red flag that she doesn't have a relationship with her other children. And even the way she said her son, "Oh, my son was adopted. I don't have any relationship with him." My daughter, she's afraid of me. So, I don't have a relationship with her. It's like, yeah, I'd be afraid of you too. And then if you want to not be like me right now and you don't want to be skeptical, you could look at the parole hearing. You want to take those things aside. I thought she was very insightful, except for all that stuff. I thought that she answered the questions well. I thought she sounded mature. I thought that, it seemed genuine. There was no fakeness. I mean, I don't think she touched the tissue box. So what you want to call that, psychopathy? I don't know. But I mean, at least she wasn't faking it. Do you buy the story though about really only trying meth once? I mean, this picture.
I don't buy that.
I mean, I guess it's not.
No, I don't think you're being racist. I think you're throwing out a hypothesis.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be. It could just be she's crying, right? I don't know. There's like some marks that you might think could be like meth related, but at the same time, it's give or take. I wouldn't know. You take her word for it. I mean, it's almost like I wish that she did, because then she'd have some type of excuse. But if it's just, it's just, oh, well, I started drinking. Like she's been drinking a lot for like a year, and that made her do this to her child. And why are you adopting a child nonetheless? The whole thing's nuts.
Nuts.
Almost makes you wonder what else was going on. You adopted a son. You can't even handle your children. You're going to adopt someone and then beat one to death. It just doesn't add up. And the biological father was not there. She was living with another man. This stuff is crazy. So let's go read through. And thank you, Richard, for the information, as always. And those of you who wonder, it's like, what am I thanking Richard for? What's he do? We cover hundreds and hundreds of hearings a week, maybe. So it'd be impossible for me to go. So Richard goes through every single hearing.
Thank you, Mondi.
Puts them all in a spreadsheet, looks for the ones that are relevant to cover, and then highlights those with all of the relevant information. He puts all the relevant information for all of them, but then he calls out the ones that seem like where a mother kills her child, right? So he's the one that makes it possible for me to be able to deliver at this rate that I'm delivering. Because this is not my full-time job. I would like it to be one day, but I don't know. I don't know how other YouTubers do make it their full-time job. It's not like... Anyways. Prosecutors in Manatee Field, a first-degree felony, 6th District Court, Monday against 20 years. Okay. So she was 23 years old. She beat her 2-year-old to death last week. There's evidence of bruising and markings on the child that were not consistent with drowning. The county attorney Blackman says the charge, she said, was based on the evidence police interviews with Hampton and preliminary findings of the medical examiner. The report is consistent with the findings and observations of the staff and the initial examiner hospital, meaning no drowning. According to the report, Centerfield Police Chief Brett McCall, Hampton admitted to the beating. On May 7th, ambulance crews responded to a report of a non-responsive child. Hampton said that they discovered Kristen's face down in the pool and that her face had turned blue. I mean, who leaves their child in a pool anyways? It's like, oh, 911. Oh, let's just leave her in the kiddie pool. It's like, it's so ridiculous. Upon arrival to the hospital, however, medics observed the child was not wet, and it was not wet. And there was no suspicious bruises over the child's body, and there was suspicious bruises. The call report states also from chest x-rays, the doctor said he did not believe the water was in the lungs. The deputy medical examiner and I both agreed, so she did that, and then that's how she tried to get away with it. It's just sick. There's something so evil about that it's hard to match these two events with the parole hearing we just saw and the woman I thought we just saw. But that's the thing about people who do things like this.
Yeah.
The deputy medical examiner and I both agree that after examination of the body, there were some unanswered questions we had. Confronted with the discrepancies, Ariel finally broke down and explained that she had beaten her daughter. She stated she beat her for a long time. McCall wrote in his report, Hampton was booked into the San Butte County Jail. Despite the facts that many people live in the same residence where the incident happened, McCall said that their witnesses, let's just call her by her name, There were no one. This is the beating. If they're not coming forward, he said Monday. I've heard that we need to look into some of the other family members, and we did, but there was nothing to lead us to believing that anything other than what was in the police report. Oh yeah,
Right.
Sure, that police report is like gold. And they call caution the public not to listen to rumors that have corrupt the surrounding that have cropped up. Hampton, he said, was living with a family of her boyfriend, not the child's father. That family, he said, tends to be seclusive, and many Centerfield residents refer to the family's property as a compound. That, together with the fact that this is the second suspicious incident involving the family, the first was a hunting accident several years ago that killed a 10-year-old son of another family. What? Oh my God, what did we just walk into? They live on a compound, and a few years ago, a 10-year-old died. Great. Seems like a wonderful place. And there were no other suspects. No, they questioned, and there were no other. Let's believe the police report has contributed to those rumors. Don't believe it unless you hear it from us, because the police are never wrong. It's ridiculous. It just gives people, especially with this family, opportunity to go hog wild with outlandish rumors. Where there's rain, there's fire, sir. Kristen's father, Jim Anderson, talked Saturday. I don't know. That's just how I feel. I mean, you have a 10-year-old die. You live in a compound. There's rumors, but the police say, "Don't worry, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Sheeple. You're all just about the sheeple. You don't have PhDs. You don't have this shiny badge over here on our shirt. You see this shiny badge? That means."
All right, guys. I'm going to find something else more exciting to watch. How about some resisting arrest? Those are great. Yeah, resisting arrest, more corrupt police. Let me see what I can find real quick. BRB.